So I wanted to do something a little different and make a video sharing more of my journey, things that I've learned along the way, and share it on a platform such as YouTube compared to posting on Instagram, as I am someone who did grow up watching YouTube videos. And I do still use it to learn different things, to look into things, hear other people's perspectives or experiences with different things. And I like the concept of it being more of a long term process and a long form version of content versus scrolling and just watching a quick little 5-second video. I also think the people that really resonate with what I have to share or resonate with me will want to watch something like this rather than consuming the short form content that I was creating. So, I think before I even start to share more, I should give a little bit of a background. Um, I decided to start posting on Instagram because I don't feel like I have a lot of community experiencing the same thing that I'm right now. I am 26. I have gone back to school. I am not working full time. I live with my parents. I am an older daughter. I come from, I'm a first gen Canadian. My family comes from Fiji. I am of the South Asian descent. Um, and these things that I'm currently doing are not quite norms in my culture. And so I think it can sometimes feel a bit isolating when you're navigating voices that are not always accepted, nor understood, and quite frankly, not even tried to be understood. And I thought, I know I'm not the only person doing this. And I think if I can help share my story with one other person, like that would that's all really like my goal really is. Just like helping people not feel alone in what they're doing. And I think the big theme around this all is really believing in yourself and choosing to do what you know speaks to you and tuning out the outside noise. And so I'm going to go back 5 years now. And I had decided to graduate. No, actually, this is like going back 7, 8 years now. I had decided to graduate high school a year early, but I really struggled in high school. I definitely had undiagnosed ADHD, struggled academically, and I was kind of just tired of the environment that I was in and felt like I was ready to move on. And so I did. And I really struggled in post secondary. And I did that for a year or two. Really struggled with my courses. My GPA was at a 0.46. So just take that in. And now I stopped going to school. COVID happened and COVID kind of really opened up things for me in terms of realizing not being busy was a huge struggle for me mentally. And so I went through some processes, spoke to my doctor and such, thought I was depressed, but really wasn't. More of it was ADHD. So figured out the diagnosis, got onto the right medication. And I will say now at 26, so I was diagnosed at 21. It's taken me almost 6 years to get to the right medication. I've switched doctors in between. So it's not even a simple thing once you get diagnosed. It's even a process after too, figuring out medication and figuring out where you land in terms of that. But, anyways, so after that, I figured that out. Um, so I was about 2021 and somehow I came across the word doula. I had originally been going to school for social work, but with me struggling in school, even though I was doing something that I did enjoy, as I was very social justice oriented growing up in high school, love volunteering, helping my community, creating programs, after school programs, clubs, all those good things. I still struggled academically, even though I enjoyed the content of what I was learning. But because I struggled with executive functioning, little things of like getting to class on time, making sure I had all the right supplies started to play into me even being able to engage with the material. Um, and so I did stop going to school and I did a doula certification online. And then I started working with families. And that really changed my life. Now, when I decided to become a doula, let me tell you, nobody in my family who would be considered more like my parent or an aunt or an elder person really knew what I was doing, what it was, kind of just spoke down about it, or I just kind of felt ignored. And instead of kind of fighting that or trying to tackle it, I kind of let myself be ignored and just isolated myself from that. And I was okay with that and it worked for me. But that was a big struggle for myself in terms of this was the first moment in my life where I was actively doing something that my family did not support or believe in or really wanted me to continue doing. Like being a first generation Canadian, I felt a lot of, and also as an older sister who has two younger sisters, felt quite a bit of pressure of making sure that I did what I was supposed to do to like activate that people pleaser in me, make sure my parents are proud of me, make sure that they approve of what I'm doing, and that I'm following this like generic path of what I'm supposed to be doing, like be done at school at 25, be in a relationship at this time, get married, all these little things. And I'm really glad that I didn't do that and that I did pivot and I listened to myself. And yes, there are very many struggles that I go through on the daily, but the things that I've learned from being a doula is something that I know I will never learn or experience um, being someone who's grown up in a culture as the type of culture that I have, or been around the community that I am exposed to in my day to day, or even learned in school. And it's something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life and has really set up this foundation for how I want to be as a human in this world, the contributions I want to make to this world and to my community, and the work that I want to do as for the time that I have on this planet. And which has led me to wanting to get into midwifery school. So this is now a process that I'm working on. Obviously with the 0.46 GPA, I have a lot of upgrading to do. Just getting back into it, relearning things and working on my application and such. And so when I stopped working full time, which was in September of 2025, it was a big shift for myself financially, considering the fact that I am also getting older. I also have goals that I want to achieve. And I had just started investing my money. So I started to kind of think of other ways that I could generate income while it being low cost, while I am still in school, and with school being my main focus. And so this led me to social media because I just said to myself, why is everyone else able to do it? Why can't I also try? And so that's kind of why I'm here. This isn't my first time experimenting with social media. When I was a doula, I did kind of I tried to do the social media part of like having your own business, but I did find that I was providing a service, which was beneficial in terms of getting clients, but I did feel quite exhausted and pressured to try to get business through it. And this time I wanted to be very true to myself. Not that my doula business wasn't true to myself, but I felt like I was very in a box in terms of what I could speak about, share, post. Um, and this time I just wanted to be myself. I just want to share everything that I have going on in my life, the things that I've learned, the things that I've experienced, things that I am learning and navigating. And so that's what led me to creating an Instagram page. And initially, I really just wanted it to be a fashion page because, as somebody whose body and weight has fluctuated all my life, at my heaviest, I've probably been about 235 pounds. At my lowest, I've been about 145 pounds that I can remember. And right now, I'm sitting at about 200 pounds. So, one thing that has shifted was my weight, and one thing that never shifted was my love for fashion. And as someone who has gone through different sizes and now kind of entering a different phase of my life, I thought it would be really interesting to kind of share that journey. I also am someone who really enjoys being more natural. So when I say natural, I mean, I don't like, if I don't really have to, I do not want to modify my body in any way. I do realize like it would most likely be very beneficial for myself if one day I could get skin tightening surgery or a little bit of filler, or I have a huge scar on my lip, maybe doing some kind of laser there, or filling my lips, or getting Botox in a certain part of my face. I've always had a double chin, so I know a lot of people do stuff for that. But I don't think that would be true to who I am. I really find how humans are like, it's so beautiful how humans are so uniquely different. No two human beings are the same. I mean, unless you're a identical twin, but even still, like there are differences. Um, and I think with just how I see my own community, this is what I see in my day to day. I feel people are starting to look all the same. And there's so much desire and pressure to be this like beautiful like doll, or even the resistance with aging, little things like that. And I don't want that to be the norm. And I realize if I am not like if I am starting to see that this is what it feels like, I don't have to fit into that, but how can I contribute to that so that when I think of another woman looking at fashion inspo or just on social media, that there are different types of women and you don't have to confine to that. And I really specifically am saying this to the South Asian women. I think with what I see in my community, I feel like most of the South Asian women are starting to look the same. And I hope that there comes to a stop to it eventually, because we are beautiful women and we don't all have to look the same. We can embrace our flaws and be ourselves without needing to make these changes. And of course, like I'm not trying to get in anyone's way. If working or doing a procedure or something makes you feel better and improves your mental health, I all support that and I want people to do that. But what I'm just trying to say is there are other ways. And if you're feeling pressure to change yourself because that's what everybody else is doing, you don't have to. And I think that's kind of the message that I really needed to see and want to see more of. And so I think instead of waiting to see more of it, I want to do that myself. And that's a really big piece as to why I want to do this. Like, I thought, maybe I should put makeup on my face or look better before filming a video. But this is who I am. This is the skin that I have. This is what I look like right now. And I think there is power in this type of vulnerability and transparency. And so that's why I'm creating this video. That's why I'm doing this. And yeah, I hope that this journey will be beneficial for myself in terms of documenting my viewpoints and how things evolved in my life. Also, in terms of being able to just to share with others and create more of a community. So I know all that information kind of is all over the place, and just a little bit of a background and um, just wanting to give context into who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm trying to do this. And if you resonate, or if you have any questions or things you want to understand or learn more about, I'm happy to share that. If you're watching this video and you stayed all the way till the end, Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to give me any feedback, any comments, and subscribe if you resonate with this so far. If watching this made you feel positive, and like. Thank you.